Today's the day, you guys. Well, maybe. Christopher Laundrie, Brian Laundrie's father, has joined the search for his son. Earlier today, video and media caught Laundrie leaving his home in Northport, Florida, and he was on his way to the Carlton Reserve in Northport. FBI, along with Northport and Sarasota Sheriff's Office, have been searching in the Northport Carlton Reserve and adjacent parks for over 2 weeks since the family reported Brian missing on September 17th. Chris and Roberta Laundrie reported Brian missing after he went on a hike, they said, and had gone on, initially they claimed the 14th, and then later changed the date to the 13th. The date was changed after a abandoned car report was released by Northport Police, which had a date of the 14th of September. Chris's attorney yesterday released a statement saying that the FBI or Northport Police had asked Chris to join the search because they were looking at specific areas. Then, late last night, CNN reported that a source told them that the FBI had located a campsite, a remnants of a campsite. It was unclear if the remnants of that campsite connected to Brian, but there was some implication by CNN that it could be. Canine dogs have been on the trail of Brian. They have been actively searching for him over the last few weeks, and the FBI has gone back to the Laundrie house multiple times to get evidence to help the dogs track Brian in the preserve. So then this morning, after the attorney basically said they had asked him to help them yesterday, Chris was not able to help yesterday. They asked him to stay back. Josh Taylor of the Northport Police denied that he asked, but he said that the FBI would be the person or the agency that would lead that decision. And then this morning, we get notice that not only did Mr. Stephen Bertolino, the attorney of the Laundries, tell Fox News that he believes that Brian Laundrie is alive in the Carlton Reserve, and he does not believe that Brian is watching the news or knows what's going on. Clearly this morning, the news breaking that Chris Laundrie is going in to help has the internet ablaze. Stephen Bertolino clarified what he's doing today in a series of text messages. Multiple reporters shared text messages. In one, they asked them this: okay, hope so, but you're not sure why he left the home, to be clear. And he said, I know he left to go to the preserve. Hopefully it will be allowed to participate today. And then in another response, he said, Chris Laundrie is assisting law enforcement today in the search for Brian. Chris was asked to point out any favorite trails or spots that Brian may have used in the preserve. Although Chris and Roberta Laundrie provided this information verbally 3 weeks ago, it is now thought on-site assistance may be better. The preserve has been closed to the public and the Laundries as well, but the parents have been cooperating since the search began. There's been a lot of speculation about whether or not the Laundries have been participating or have been aiding the police and the FBI searching for their son. And today it seems that Chris is there and he's trying to help the FBI locate his son. There's a lot of questions as well by whether or not they believe that Brian is alive and whether or not they think this could be Brian, the campsite that they have had. So this is what Michael Ruiz from Fox News just tweeted. He said, local residents tell us it's possible Brian Laundrie could survive inside the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park. They say there's fresh water available at the park's public restrooms. The area, he also continued, the area has a homeless population and there are apparently groups who leave food and supplies for them. There is speculation that Brian Laundrie would be able to access these supplies without being seen. So if that's the case, if there is a population and if they are leaving food for individuals that are homeless, this could certainly provide him with water and food for the past 3 weeks. It's still not clear where they think he's located. There's been a lot of speculation that Brian is not in the preserve or the reserve, that this all was a red herring, that the family was not cooperating. There has been wide speculation that he had been on the run. Yet throughout this entire time, the FBI has maintained focus on this specific area, consistently using canines and bringing in a lot of search efforts. The question remains is, what have they known? Probability is a lot. Knowing that they're using canines and knowing at this point in the investigation, they're now bringing in the father, perhaps they're getting close to finding Brian, and they have an idea that if Brian's father is there, he might be able to aid in a successful apprehension. The goal at this point for authorities would be that he surrenders if he's alive peacefully without anything happening to him. They want to avoid anything bad happening to Brian, because if he's alive, they want to be able to bring him to justice. So today has been very busy at Carlton Reserve as we're starting to learn more and more about what's going on with Brian Laundrie. This has all started to get a little bit of turn going in the public about maybe the Laundries didn't know, maybe the Laundries have been helping, maybe we don't know as much as we think we do, maybe it's all been speculation. There's been people on Twitter talking about that perhaps Brian did take off and his parents don't have a clue, and now at this point in time, perhaps the family wants to finally has the opportunity to help. Other people are more skeptical. Some people are saying it's very interesting that the family would now be helping not long after Dr. Phil and Gabby's family called out the Laundries for not helping the authorities. It also follows their daughter saying that they needed to do the right thing. And it also follows the daughter accusing them, well, not accusing them, but saying she did not know if the parents were involved. Whether that has anything to do with where they're at today is not clear. Coincidences don't necessarily mean that it actually is truth, and correlation does also not mean causation. So it would be easy to jump to those through that hoop to assume this, but it's hard to say whether or not that is true. But at this point, Christopher Laundrie has his feet on the ground, and I think no matter what we think about the Laundries, whether we like them, don't like them, are frustrated with them, the truth is that no one knows more about Brian than his parents. His parents could hold information that helps the FBI finally get Brian Laundrie. There's also no one knows how to speak to Brian better than his father. Say they find him and say Brian is in a standoff and say Brian doesn't want to surrender and say his father is the one that can help that happen. Whether that's going to happen today or tomorrow, whether this keeps ongoing, we know that there's increased people right now at Carlton Reserve, and Christopher Laundrie is helping. We also know that Christopher Laundrie went into the reserve on a John Deere golf cart, and now the golf cart has been abandoned. Well, it's alone and it's in a wooded area, seemingly suggesting that Christopher is now on foot and they might be closing in on Brian. We will keep you all updated as soon as we hear more. This is a developing story, and we do hope that Christopher can be helpful, that there can be a successful apprehension of Brian. We hope this is not another false alarm. This really does need to end for Gabby Petito's family, for her father, for her mother, and her step-parents, so they can properly grieve. We all want this to be a peaceful surrender. We do not want Brian to be harmed. Gabby will not get justice. There will be no answers, and no one will know anything if Brian does not make it out of this alive. I'll keep you guys all up to date, but let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.